the 19th of March. It's Wednesday. Good morning to you. You have woken up to see another day. God is great indeed. Coming up on the show this morning, we have a packed lineup for you today, starting with a critical conversation that is centered around youth development through the arts. Now, the European Union Bushfire Schools Festival has been a driving force in providing sustainable access to creative expression for the young minds of Eswatini. Now, with the EU stepping in as the title sponsor, the initiative has grown even stronger, reinforcing arts, education, and empowering over 10,000 students as well as teachers. We're going to be joined by Jose Angel Bajera Mata from the EU to Eswatini and Florent from Alliance for Francois, as well as Piwo Dlamini, to discuss how this platform is shaping the next generation of artists and change makers. Then we turn our attention to the business of digital transformation in Eswatini, where in an era where technology is redefining how we work and interact, what does this mean for businesses in the country? We want to also look at the World TB Day. It's World Tuberculosis Day on the 25th. It's a critical conversation that we are going to have on the program this morning regarding that particular day, particularly the implications that tuberculosis have in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We will be joined by two representatives from the Ministry of Health who are going to really help us get the full picture of the state of Tuberculosis Day in the Kingdom of Eswatini, as well as the strides that we have made with regards to kuyinqoba TB. Indzaba lenkulukelana ngiyo indzawo yokuthi there have been some brutal facts with regards to tuberculosis, that it could still be around in the year 2050, and yet the World Health Organization had set targets that 2050, the aspiration is that it should have been eliminated. We want to really understand if we are pessimists, if we say it could be around in 2050, just by studying the current landscape of tuberculosis in Eswatini. Yes, we can end TB. That is the overarching theme this year. But can we really, is the biggest question, can we really end TB? The world has committed to ending it, yet we are still here with regards to the numbers. So we do want to also look at a glass half full perspective with regards to the strides, of course, but we have to be honest, no fluff, and just focus on the numbers that prevail, as well as sensitizing people as to how they can continue to live their lives in a safe way, in the sense that abayitfoli melula ke tuberculosis. Outside of that, we are going to keep you updated with our news bulletins in both Siswati and English, of course, bringing you the latest headlines shaping the nation and beyond. And speaking of headlines, let's start the show by looking at some of those in our major newspapers this morning. All right, let's start with the Times of Eswatini. Here are the leading stories. All right, big story there. It is woman with disability murdered and burnt. Found bound, throat slit inside house as neighbors break into it to extinguish fire. Wild suspicions as victim was said to be frequently left alone during the day. I really don't know what to make of that headline, but it's very heart and gut-wrenching. Yeah, on another one, cops stop SOS pupils march against violence and abuse. Now, this happened in Babane, where pupils from SOS, as seen on that photograph, they are from the children's villages, Eswatini. This was yesterday as they were marching to raise awareness against violence and child abuse. Now, the march, which was intended to start at SOS school along Engonweni Road and continue to the traffic circle at Sitvashini, was halted at the corner of Engonweni and Gamhlaba roads after police officers explained that the organizers had not obtained the necessary permission. Moving forward, finance officer, 300,000 Malangeni fraud, unclaimed 55 Malangeni search underway for 581 ex-miners. The Deputy Prime Minister on Gender-Based Violence says use condoms kubikwe tisu. The back end of this publication, the sports headlines, late arrivals, injuries for Cameroon, 2 stars are doubtful, 1 sidelined, Man United's Onana among latecomers, and the game is going to be live on TV. As the clock ticks down to kick off this evening, Cameroon racing to assemble their team for the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. It is a mental boost for Sihlangu Semnikati, following Sihlangu players who were recently captured in that moment for a camaraderie following their training session at the revamped Somhlolo National Stadium. Another story, Somhlolo fees set for major review. The Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs is poised to review the booking prices for Somhlolo National Stadium. And Ozil is barred from return to former club. We move over, we look at the Eswatini Observer this Wednesday morning. The top story there, PM's cabal statement, investigate, smoke out those causing chaos. Senator says chaos, confusion bound to prevail. Cabal is not the media. That has been clarified by the Premier. On another one, shockers, woman killed, burnt inside house. The house in which Lindogu Shlendlovu of Sibovu near Mahlalini, who had a disability, was tortured, her throat slit and her body burned, and on Monday afternoon. Senators question continued funding of TLC, and Swazimed board moves to remove its chairman. Moving along, we look at the sports headlines. This is the Eswatini Observer. Fans 60-seater bus full. Really don't know what to make of that headline. Select Limited injects 50,000 emalangeni to ESSA. And the Loga's message to star-studded Cameroon says, bring it on. Sihlangu is not threatened by their much-fancied opponents, and the match is to be played this evening at Mbombela Stadium. On another story, Cameroon coach wants assistant out. He signs off a purported division, starting off to show within the Cameroon national team camp ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Eswatini. And Nobuhle for 1 million Malangeni Platinum Ladies Open. Moving along, this is the Eswatini Daily News. We start with the front page headlines. 5.2 billion Malangeni Puzumoya Strategic Oil Reserve Fuel Deal has been approved. And Eswatini Mobiles, let us pay your bills. A kingdom-wide initiative bringing hope and empowerment. Manzini Council hosts high-level delegation from Lancaster City in the USA. And that's it from the front page. We move over and we look at the back end. Lack of stadium is the only hurdle as EFA busts over 100,000 in Malanga and is saving grace. The FA has, as of Monday, done away with bus hire for the national team, Sihlangu Semnikati international assignments. But another one, Babane Highlanders release as a player, and following League Cup victory, Newcastle's burn focuses on England call-up. That's it for our news headlines. Mapepanzabeni lamatsatfu elive asibahloleni market sitawubuya netindzaba tesiswati.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.sz. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Msotla mahle solo sichubeka nalo hlelo ikusile breakfast show lomuhla ekseni lesithathu siqale ngana tindzaba tesiswati. Liphini landvunankhulu imphunga Tulisile Dladla litsi tinkinga letikhona event ibangelwa kutsi labanye bantfu abafuni kubhekana netintfo leticondzene nabo njengekondla bantfwana. Liphini ke landvunankhulu litsi kungaba ngumcondvo lomuhle kutsi bantfu bativikele kute-ke bangatokhulelwa bantfwana labangeke banakekele kahle noma banakeke kahle. Liphini landvunankhulu livete loku ngesikhatsi letfula umbiko wekusebenta kwelihhovisi layo weminyaka timali wa 2024-2025 ekomitini lelibuka kusebenta kwaleli hhovisi endlini yetimphunga.
Liphini landvunankhulu nalicedza kwetfula inkulumo yalo, timphunga titfole litfuba lekubuta nekwendlulisa imivo, ikakhulu mayelana netehlakalo, kukhulelwa kwemantfombatana asemancane, kanye-ke nekutfumisa kukhula kwembasha yebantfu labakhubatekile naletinye tinhlelo lihhovisi leliphini landvunankhulu lelitentako letenta impilo yemaswati kutsi ibe ngilengcono.
Angathi noma iyahambelana nalapho social studies nalabo health studies ukuthi ufuna atade nemizwa yakhe nokonke bese kungathi sesilenzelwa ifundo lese titawupromotha lenye info bantwana.
I-office ka-DPM alikucabangi lona ukuthi ngingake lihlangane naminister waka-justice to push the-specialized courts. More especially ngoba atiyawusita kule laka DPM ngoba kudilwa khona nebafana nale gender-based violence ila kule department.
Liphini landvunankhulu imphunga Tulisile Dladla lithi-ke kunesidzingo sekuthi bantfu batiswe ngebungoti bekwakha emakhaya etindzaweni letingakafanele.
Both parents are gonna be responsible. Lokunyenti lebekuphuma velele ngaphandle ukuthi basidoja lapho mali. Khanze ukuthi utawufuna kimi imali, afune lapha ku-PS imali, ayofuna kwanda sonke besiya lapha bisihamba lendlela yini. Nayo belenza bale ngisho ukuthi fakwe lamakhondom. Sitocetha nangumsebenzi nankinga nayo. Uma wathi nje usuwahamba lapha khokha le mali yesonto. Ngoba ungenteka benaye akazi ukuthi vele wabani umntwana utanivisisa nonke nitawufaka leti mali nize nithi akwentiwe makhondom bonkhosi umfana watiwe ukuthi nalo makatokwati ukuthi ninamuya nyalo naye inkosi yamakati so ngiko ke ngcine lonje bese kugcina ke kuyashaywa kuyabulalwa.
Liphini landvunankhulu lithi lihhovisi lakhe litawenabisa kufundvwa kwe-sign language kute-ke labo labakhubatekile batawukhona kwekuthi basitakale nangabe badzinga lusito. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni kuseParliamentary.
Indvuna yetemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umvanenkosi lonkhokhela ethi kumenyetelwa kwekukhula kwentsengo yagesi lokwentiwa-ke ngumlamuli wemandla nahulumende bekungasiko kuphikisana kepha hulumende bekabukela emaswati njengoba kungumsebenzi wakhe. Indvuna yethi hulumende bekangeke akhulume ngasense nemlawuli wemandla ngobe yena wenta tibalo ngekusebentisa indlela le-scientific. Indvuna yekuvete loku ngesikhatsi yetfula umbiko wekusebenta kwelitiko layo weminyaka wa 2024-2025.
Indvuna yelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umfanenkosi lonkhokhela nayicedza kwetfula umbiko wekusebenta kwalelitiko, timphunga tibese-ke tibuta mayelana nendzaba yekwenyuka kwentsengo yagesi kanye-ke nendzaba yekukhicitwa kwagesi lowanele lapha eveni.
Kunema-occurrence of critical raw minerals in two places. Those two places is either in one region or in both regions. Absolutely, two places specifically.
Could that decision not have been made prior than was communicated with the reactor? So when our men are very reactionary than are proactive.
The ministry regulator in terms of the law.
Indvuna yelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla imphunga umfanenkosi lonkhokhela ithi-ke live liphokophele kutsi ligcine likhicita gesi lowanele.
Esera u-independent naka-independent usesigabeni sokuthi ubalela yena scientifically baqedwe. So uhamba ayokhuluma nahulumende behind closed doors akwendeki ngoba phela sekulimala le process la yendawo nalokubhala kwakhe lokhu scientific. Nasabuya asathi 8% lo error kanti phela yena ubale 14% ngiyabekisa. Lokho kuthiwa sesigabeni sokuthi le gap leyo siyitawushona kuphela ngoba phela sokuthi tena kanti lapha mbamba lokwendekele kune gap lekhona. Le gap lekhona uyayirecognize uhulumende. Uyayirecognize ngekuthi-ke ukhuluma nababe producer which is EEC kwekuthi wena kunene njengoba kunje sive singafa.
Indvuna itsi kuleti nhlelo betichubeka ngekubambisana nelive leMelika titawuchubeka ngobe live solo linebudlelwano lobuhle neleMelika. Indvuna itsi nayivakashele khona yaba nelitfuba lekuba netingcoco nemlingani wayo lowasho kutsi lakangwane batalesekela nasetinhlelweni tekuphehlwa kwagesi ngemalahle. Tindzabeni kubika Sontomlangeni ngisePhalamende.
Indvuna yetindzaba talabasha umhlonishwa Bonganzima seyicele indlu yetimphunga ukuthi iphasise emaphakelo elitiko layo kute-ke litawukhona kuchuba imisebenti yalo eminyakeni wekusebenta kwemali yahulumende 2025-2026. Indvuna yente lesicelo ngesikhatsi likomiti letimphunga lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko layo litsingitsa umbiko wekugcina wekusebenta kwalo eminyakeni wa 2024-2025.
The Ministry of Eswatini National Youth Council has achieved a significant milestone in addressing youth issues and advancing youth development in 2024. Key achievements include the successful implementation of the Youth Empowerment Program, reaching a diverse skills such as TVET, entrepreneurship, and general agriculture. This has been by and large through the acceleration of youth ventures, thereby providing business incubation, intensifying the mindset change program, continued strategic linkages building with partners such as Junior Achievement, the Youth Fund, and increasing resource mobilization endeavors with partners such as the New Zealand government as a means to increase the numbers of young people reached with socio-economic development programs.
Indvuna yetisebenti tembuso umhlonishwa Mabulala Maseko ithi litiko libhekeke kutsi litfola umbiko we-consultant mayelana netindzaba temaholo ikakhulu phase 11. Indvuna icele timphunga kutsi tiyetsembe ngoba phambilini hulumende imali uke wayifaka nga-2022. Indvuna ikuvete lokhu ngesikhatsi yetfula umbiko wekusebenta kwalelitiko layo weminyaka wa 2024-2025.
Ngemuva kokuthi indvuna yelitiko letisebenti tembuso umhlonishwa Mabulala Maseko yetfule umbiko wekusebenta kwalelitiko, timphunga tibese-ke tibuta tindzaba letimbalwa letifaka ekhatsi indzaba ya phase 2 kutsi ikuphi, indzaba yekumiswa kwetisebenti tembuso njengobe letinye kubikwa kutsi-ke timiswa iminyaka letsite tiphindze-ke tibuye ngaphandle kokuthi lelo cala lifike emaphetselweni. Lenye indzaba lekhulunyisiwe yindzaba letsintsa mabhalane lomkhulu walo lelitiko. Indvuna umhlonishwa Mabulala Maseko-ke ibe seyiniketa timphendvulo.
Ubese-ke siyabuta ukuthi i-position ya PS lobe kakhona babetha bethe ithini. Cha, tindzaba lisenkantolo siyagijinyiswana tenkantolo wawa utikhalela khona wekunene ukuthi awucabangisa akahambi ngendlela lefanele. Isetinkantolo isetshenzwa khona. Kwanyalo sina acting US ngubabe Richard Phungwayo. Nangabe kumbe kunetikhala ngabe kusanga health ting 500 but le budget isingakhona kuthatha 200. Sithathe 200 ngaleso sikhathi. So kuba ibudget kakhulu kana ukuthi ayisisebenzisi kahle kuze sitokhona ukucasha ngalokuphelele. Ukuresigna kukhulu kakhulu vele siyakubona ikakhulu nje kulabo lokhanda sibane skill lesire lo article nje ukuthi bakhanza bababili bathathu ngaba bonjinela ngaba ma technicians lathide bonus labathide ukhanze ukuthi vele ba resign abahamba bawufuna amadlelo lahlahla bese ngivedile lokho ukuthi kufuna sikubuke lokho.
Indvuna ibese icela likomidi ukuthi liphasise imali lenganga 276,287,202 emalangeni kude litiko litokhona kusebenta. Umbiko uhlanganiswe nguSontomlangeni ePhalamende.
Asangetulu kwemakhulu lasiphohlongo eMaswati lake yasebenta etimayini taseNingizimu Afrika lasabhadaliwe-ke imali yawo yelidlelandvongeni lakulela live seloku kwacala luhlelo lekuwabhadala ngeminyaka wa-2015. Lokhu kushiwo indvuna yetisebenti umhlonishwa Phila Buthelezi uma akhuluma emhlanganweni nebetindzaba lapho bekusukunyiswa khona umkhankaso wesithathu wekufuna labo labasengakayitfoli imali yabo.
Indvuna yelitiko letetisebenti ithi uhulumende uyalithokotela lolu hlelo lwalelidlelandvongeni njengoba lutawucinisekisa ukuthi onke eMaswati langayitholanga imali yawo agcina ayitholile njengoba ngaphambilini bantu bebangayitholi ngekuthi kushoda emaphepha lathide.
Statistics show that on average more than 8,000 eMaswati migrants worked in the Republic of South Africa mines annually between 1966 and 1991.
Uthi kusukela ngeminyaka yabo 1960 bekamanyenti kakhulu eMaswati labekaya kuyawusebenta etimayini eNingizimu Afrika kodwa bekabese aba nebulukhuni ekuthola imali yawo lesele ngale. Uthi noko nyalo eMaswati lasebenta etimayini taseNingizimu Afrika asanciphile njengoba ngeminyaka wa-2021 bekangetulu nje kwenkulungwane nemakhulu lasikhombisa kanti ngeminyaka wa-2015 bekangetulu kwetinkulungwane letintsatfu nemakhulu lasihlanu. Uthi lolu hlelo ludzinga kubambisana kwetinhlangothi letifaka ekhatsi ematiko lehlukene ahulumende, imiphakathi kanye nalabanye baholi bemango. Lo bukete kusebenta esikhwameni selidlelandvongeni lalabake basebenta etimayini eNingizimu Afrika Mzwandile Ndlovu uthi ngekusho kwemabhuku abo bangu-281 esifundeni sakaHhohho, 234 esifundeni saseshiselweni na-266 esifundeni sakaManzini labasengakabhadalwa kulesikhwama kanti imali yabo ilinganiselwa ngetulu kwa-55 million emalangeni.
Zikhona-ke indlela ey'ningi zokuclaima imali ezasala emamayini. But-ke thina so-Mine Workers Provident Fund sithe asisuke e-ofisini lethu eGoli size eSwatini so that sokwazi ukuthi i-process yokuclaima ibe lula for ama-members ethu nama-beneficiaries.
Tinhlangano letihlukene kuleli talabake basebenta etimayini eNingizimu Afrika betimelelwe kulomhlangano kanti leli bandla litobhalisa labake basebenta etimayini lekumele bathole le mali yelidlelandvongeni nobe etihlobo tabo litobe lisebentela etindzaweni letehlukene kuleli kusukela mhla tinga-31 enyangeni yeNdlovulenkulu kuya kumhla tisi-5 kuMabasa eminyakeni losetulu. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV nguMbongo Dube eMbabane.
Bantfu benkhosi nabo babetikhulu ngaphansi kwesifundza sakaHhohho sebakhutsatwe ukuthi babhale phansi tindzaba letitekwa emiphakatsini kute kutawugwemeka kukhishwa kwetijubo letingagculisi. Ngekusho kwaDuduzile Dlamini lolisekela lakhomishani ka-Human Rights Commission, insaya labahlangabetana nayo balibandla esikhatsini lesinyenti ngiko kukhala kwesive lakhona sititfola sesigwetshiwe ngalokungasiko.
Duduzile Dlamini lolisekela lakhomishani we-Human Rights Commission uthi sekukanyenti bahlangabetana netigigaba lakhona kutholakala indzaba seyishintshile ngenxa yokuthi iqoqwa umuntu lesekayikhohliwe ngako kumgcoka ukuthi tibhalwe phasi tinkulumo letentiwa emiphakatsini.
Sesiyati ukuthi emiphakathi sesiyabhala tindzaba ngoba khanze lokufike kwaba inkinga esikhatsini lesiphelile ukhanza ukuthi tindzaba sesitativa ngalomunye sekufakwe itswayi sekufakwe noma sekususwe ishukela lobeka khona noma sekufakwe lokho lokufakiwe ayisatekeki kahle lendzaba ngoba sikholwele emfini lo kumbe lesesikhathi lo mvu loyo semdzala letinye tintfo sotikhohliwe.
Nelisiwe Zwane obuka tindzaba temalungelo kuleli bandla sekananatela inkulumo yaDlamini uvetile kutsi kumgcoka kutsi boba betikhulu babakhulule kutsi bente imisebenti yabo lakhona sebafikile emimangweni.
Sisi nje sitokucela bobabe ukuthi inkosi yami siyaye sifikele emangweni ngalokuthi vele letindzaba ticala khona. So siyacela ukuthi nasifika nje sicela ukuthi siyacela kubona libandla noma imvuna yenza umane inkosi yami nisivulele ngoba nathi singileli bandla lenkosi lakhiwa ngilomthetho sisekelo lapha ku section 163.
Boba betikhulu nabo babe sebabhekisa imibuto babuye baphathisa libandla lokho lebakufisile.
Ngokulembeke lapha athuthe phindze abekane nabangani babo nalo mabandla ababekane lapha baphindze basuthe lapha abekane lapha kwenze ukuthi umuntu amunye leli lonke lelengwenyama lakhe leli bandla ke leli khona limthili ma human rights.
Mina ngingwatshwe ngiphila ngingwatshiwe kunetindlu emphakathini letikhiyiwe lente njani
nase letimamba tisiluma sithi shanje lapha emsileni human rights somethu nisabeni yamemete
empilweni yethu cishe sikhanza ukuthi nakhulunywa ngalibandla lemalungelo ngilele lithi nje lona litobukela abantu lebanetinkinga ngilaba labanyatselwa ngilaba besiswati.
Indzaba levakalitse kuba sikhalo lesikhulu kubo baphathi bemimango kanye nabo babetikhulu kube ngiyo leyo yokuthengiswa kwemihlaba nekukhondisa lokungekho emthethweni. Lobikela umsakazi wetithombe eSwatini TV uThabiso Maphanga esipiki.
Libandla leliphungathe ehlakalo eveni ye-NDMA ngekubambisana nahulumende libuketa umthetho lobuketa indzaba tesomiso eveni strengthening drought resilience. Umphathi we-NDMA Victor Mahlalela uthi live kumele lisukumise tinhlelo letitawukhulisa kugwema kwetehlakalo kute-ke nakwentekile live litfola tehlakalo lingalimali kakhulu.
Kwakhiwa kwalomthetho kuchutshwa libandla leliphungathe ehlakalo eveni NDMA kanti sibese sikhulumisana naye umphathi waleli bandla Victor Mahlalela.
Sesigabeni lapho khona sifuna ukuthatha i-proactive approach yekumanager esomiso ngokuthi sibe ne-policy framework lesisebentele etikwayo letawati ukuthi nakwenteke esomiso singakhanzi sivale kusebenta kwacoshwa abantu kwabuyiselwa abantu emakhaya kwenteka into letiningi letingakhanza timisa ti-affect economy nekusebenta kwelive. So le policy lena itawusebentela kakhulu njengelive ukuthi sikhone ukuthi sitawusebenta njani sisibambe njani somiso nangabe sentekile safela eveni laseSwatini.
Ukucolwa kwaleli hlaka kufaka ikhathi tinhlangothi letahlukahlukene letifaka ikhathi emadolobha. Sikhulumisene naBenedict Gamete lomelele umphathi welidolobha laseMbabane.
Nawubuka la sichamuka khona eminyakeni yabo 2016 lapho lidolobha lagciniswa lemanzi ngenzaba ngekuphelelwa ngemandi bese sibange ku day 0 empeleni. So kumcoka lo sile plan isita lo sikhona lo si tehlakalo lenjengalethi sitibone sengede sikhona nathi kulungisa la singalungisa khona ukuthi tingasikhanzi nje singathi ukuthi sitawuphuma sibheke phi nasesivela lesehlakalo sesomiso.
Nasibuka kumnyaka wa 2016 la kwaba nesomiso khona eveni bantu labadzinga kudla bebangu 300,000 tinkomo letashona tatilinganiselwa ku 64,000 kulinywa kwembila kwehla nga 60 wemaphesenti kulokunye kanti lokhu kwabita emaphesenti lang 19 emalini yekusebenta kwahulumende ngeminyaka wetimali wa 2015-2016. Lobika kwemsakatweni wetithombe eSwatini TV nguSethabile Mamba anathemba Shabangu ezulwini.
Kutemidlalo umphathi wenhlangano ye-Premier League of Eswatini Petros Vilakazi uthi bayinhlangano ngekusebenzisana namasipala welidolobha laseMbabane bayasebenta indzaba yokuthi inkundla yase-Prince of Wales igcine ibuyela idlalisa imidlalo ye-league ngaphandle kwetinkinga kuphindze kube indlela yekulethela sive saseMbabane lemidlalo thutane.
Structure lesa njengoba shito ukuthi kusetawendiwa iplanning nawubuka lapha kude kahle ama dressing room
nala mathima yakuma-dressing room ukufuna ahambe embi kwalama-fans niyati-ke lama-club ethu ukuthi akholelwa ukuthi kungendlulwa ligundwane embi kwawo kusho ukuthi sekusho umonakalo. So le structure safuna sisibukisise kahle lekufaka ekhathi wona lama-ablution letawusetshenziswa kulama-fans ukuthi nangabe lama-club atawuya awusebentela lapha vele indlela sitayimaka kanjani ukuthi lama-club nakacethe egrawundini kude lo hamba la athambele angena kuma-dressing room aphuma abuyela kuma-dressing room akaphazamiseki. Singakhanzi ama-club sekagcokela ngaphandle lapha kuphinde kube yinhlekisa nako lokho ukuthi i-club lenkulu yaka-Premier League igcokela ngaphandle. Into lefuna sikhona sizide leto ikakhulukazi naye emasipala ekutheni sifisile ukuthi silethe imali edolobheni silethe amacembu lamakhulu edolobheni but here are the boxes la ngema-risk ukuthi if singaletha lo mdlalo lo utawendekani and nalama games lakhuluma ngawo kwesemeni angeke kube ngilama-A class game ema-B class game uyakhanda ukuthi sesiyawuletha ama-game labonayo ukuthi angema-C class. Athi kahle sonke ukuthi Prince of Wales uphinde abe ne-challenge ye-parking yalama-fans nasafikile sekamanengi singaba ne-challenge ma-fans ukuthi sekapaka ngakuphi. Cishe kutaba i-planning lesitayikhulumisa kanye nabo basedolobheni lokho kusho nje ukuthi Premier League is seriously considering ukuthi lama-club lamakhulu agcine amsebenzisa Premier League if lamabhokisi lemele siwathike kutaba ngilawo lafanele. Sifuna simanage le crowd ukuthi ikhone ukuthi idlale kahle lapha eKhathi Stadium kungabi nemisindo ukuthi abantu sebayawephana. Cishe into lethu lesisawuhlala phansi siyathokoza nje ukuthi lidolobha laseMbabane seva ukuthi selinadzadzewethu igcine efaka ukuthi lesikholelwa ukuthi uyawa understanda kakhulu ema-sports nasincotha kuye sikhulumisana naye utawushesha live leli phupho la Premier League.
Tekukhulisa lo mdlalo kuleli tiyachubeka. Sibahloleni imakethe sitabuya sichubeka nehlelo masinyane.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
Welcome to Eswatini Lifestyle. This is your ultimate guide to the entertainment, to the lifestyle and the culture of Eswatini.
Eswatini Lifestyle. Eswatini Lifestyle.
Eswatini Lifestyle.
From 6:30 to 7 p.m. On Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
On Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
imodeli esinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba-researche, bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhiqiza lokusebenzisa.
All right, welcome back to the program. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show. This is the Wednesday edition. Let's talk now the EU schools, the EU Bushfire Schools Festival. It has been quite the spectacle for a couple of years now, getting a lot of our young ones excited before us. But let's get into, the real conversation now. Noflaf, what is really, what is it really all about? We have heard the conversation around, promoting sustainability and also introducing young people to, the arts as well as entertainment. We have Melanie Dlamini from the EU, as well as Pio Dlamini, the MTN Bushfire Communications Manager. By the way, Melanie Dlamini is the EU Bushfire Schools Festival Coordinator. Ladies, a very good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
I hope I'm not in trouble for requesting that you wake up so early.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
Early rising.
Well.
Well, Pio has a difference of opinion. Anyway, but, amazing work that you have been doing for a couple of years now, Pio. Let's start with you. This initiative, the conversation around sustainability is what really has caught my attention. We are seeing where the world is going right now. Everything is going off-grid. What is the drive there? What really inspired sustainability, merging that with arts and entertainment?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's not perhaps a new concept for MTN Bushfire, as well as the social development partners that we work with. This has always been at the core of our festival developments, at the core of what we do, at the core of why we exist as a festival. It's really to illuminate the transformative power of the arts and just gather different cultures, different people, change makers, thought leaders, and illuminate or ignite discourse around pertinent social and environmental issues. And all of this for years, since the festival was established, this has been captured and expressed through our call to action for positive social and environmental change, bring your fire. I mean, every year, it's not just a catchy line, you say bring your fire, but really what we're saying is get involved. It speaks to active participation around addressing, various issues. And what better way to do that than through arts advocacy, which is a very strong focus of MTN Bushfire. Hence, we work with social development partners such as the EU in staging the EU Bushfire Schools Festival. And then we also work with other social development partners who really help us to amplify, magnify, and invite participation from our festival goers, partners, and so on. Yeah,
and Melanie, let me come to you. We see a lot of the work that the EU does, particularly, in politics. Recently, it was a day ago, we saw the partnership with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, with regards to rural electrification. But we are also aware to the fact that the EU is very passionate about the youth. Talk to me about how that aligns now with this EU Schools Bushfire Festival.
Right. So one of the EU's mandate is around youth employability and skills, and that works so nicely with Bushfire's call to action and really what we're trying to emphasize at the Schools Festival, which is opportunity, which is the importance of creativity and art when thinking about the economy, the creative economy, and just allowing young people to be exposed to that and see that it's possible. And the creativity and art can really open up so many doors and be a great opportunity for finding solutions. So that's how the EU and Bushfire work so nicely together is really that underlying mandate of employability and exposure for young people.
And it's been a beautiful relationship for a couple of years now. Pure, I was reading here, it says that since inception, the festival has reached over 10,000 students and nearly 700 teachers? What are some of the tangible outcomes that you've seen, off of this?
Thank you. I think one of the most tangible outcomes that we have seen is the development or the creation of a formal arts curriculum in public schools, which basically was the founding mandate or goal of the EU Bushfire Schools Festival. It's just to make the arts inclusive and accessible to all young people, including the youth in public schools. And since then, through the application process, which is currently open, we're inviting, learners from secondary school, high school, out of school art clubs, youth art clubs, and so on. And so it's really just seeing that being initiated, being introduced in schools and seeing young people be introduced to the language of the arts. And as Mal has said, it's kind of exposing them to the potential of the arts. And with the EU's mandate of youth skills development and employability, it's important for them to be able to consider the arts as a profession, as a career that they can pursue. And so the participation has really kind of, I think, inspired confidence and opened their perspective and expose them to the potential of the arts, but also just having the facilitators who come in and the teachers as well, so that they're also kind of capacitated around how to groom young people with this dream of being in the arts. That's really powerful because we spend so much time with our teachers in schools, and if they're capacitated, on how to approach the arts and also how to give it that credibility, then it means that the future and the sustainability of the arts through young people is very promising.
And of course, we have seen, the seismic quake, coming from what the arts have done. And you speak of the potential of the arts. I do want us to come back, and really drill into that and what really tangible outcomes we are seeing come off, the arts. I know you're fresh from Tanzania, so we'll get into that conversation. But Melanie, you spoke of, the EU's, one of the EU's missions being youth employability. She speaks now of a formalized curriculum in schools. Let's speak about the downstream effect into youth employability thereof. I mean, from the curriculum, because, I think about it like this. She speaks about the potential of the arts. We are seeing what it has done for a lot of the youth. I mean, we have Uncle Waffles. We may talk about that if time allows. But, this formal curriculum is surely going to help with youth employability.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, one of our focuses for the Schools Festival this year is action. We really want young people to come and be exposed and walk away from the festival going, oh, I can do this next week. I can take this action tomorrow in my community with my peers. And so not waiting for the curriculum to develop even further or waiting for university or employment or opportunities, more of the entrepreneurial spirit. Art is such a great facet to do that, such a great vehicle for that action-oriented, solution-finding approach.
Yeah, that is really interesting. But Pio, let's come back to the potential of the arts that you speak so passionately about. You've traveled quite a lot. You have been seeing what the arts have done for a lot of people, particularly outside of Eswatini. I mean, we are still tapping into that sort of potential here at home, and I've been seeing what you've been doing with Bushfire in terms of, having local acts, perform even on the main stage and having our local events. What is this potential of the arts if we really drill into it?
Wow, that is such a broad and loaded question, and I'm going to try my best to answer it as succinctly as I can, because the potential of the arts really is so wide-ranging, and I'll just speak to it through the context of MTN Bushfire's initiatives and programs. As I mentioned earlier, we have our Bring Your Fire call to action for positive social and environmental change. And that demonstrates just how arts can very powerfully unite us all, in addressing the pertinent issues of our time. So be it environmental sustainability, arts development. We speak to our contribution as a festival towards stimulating the creative economy in Eswatini through job creation, trade and development. As you know, MTN Bushfire employs over 1,500 people during the festival weekend alone, and most of whom, 70%, are from Lobamba Lomzala in Kundla, which is the community that we are in. So it speaks to community resilience. It speaks to empowering locals. And you spoke about, how we have a very strong mandate to promote and support local artists. And that speaks to their ability, local artists' ability to access global markets now. And some of the tangible outcomes that we have seen have also been expressed or manifested through our Arts Roundtable industry workshop that happens on the Friday of the festival weekend. So it's always very busy, right? Yeah. It's not just the 3-day weekend that some people may come for. We start working really from the week of the festival with the Schools Festival, which will be taking place on the 29th of May this year. And I guess we're here to really just promote the application process, which will be closing on the 27th of March. Then we have the Arts Roundtable, where we bring industry professionals, artists, promoters from across, Africa and around the world to come and address issues that kind of speak to the professionalization of the arts. And through the Arts Roundtable, we've seen local artists get the opportunity to perform in other festivals across Africa and around the world, because now we have music showcases and we have these arts industry professionals who see our talent and they think, I want this person. And of course, our stages, our global stages, the access to markets really is such a tangible outcome. And I think the testimonials from artists locally would really inspire you and just demonstrate to you how important, spaces such as MTN Bushfire are in supporting, visibility for our artists, but also showcasing, proudly so, the amazing talent that we have in this country. Okay. So, just
I'm glad your answer has been as loaded as the question was. Yeah, it's a great answer, by the way. Melody, let me come to you. I love the theme, art as the driver and the pursuit of sustainability, that link between, arts and sustainability. Let's talk about that. I know that the EU is passionate about poverty eradication. Right. It's passionate about gender equality, environmental awareness. What is the link there, and how do you plan to, achieve your aspirations through this festival?
Right. Well, we like Pivo has said, art is such a great platform to really get into difficult issues and to really explore things that might be hard to wrap your head around, or especially for young people. So it gives them an opportunity to explore the topics and explore the issues. And as you're pointing out, sustainability is quite broad, and you can go to cultural sustainability.
100%.
And so there's a lot for the young people to be involved in and to tackle. And one of the ways that they can apply to be a part of the Schools Festival this year is by identifying a sustainability issue in their communities and providing a youth envisioned solution. So again, we're really asking for that action-oriented youth solutions, which we know they have. So there's just a matter of provoking them and asking the right questions and giving them the opportunity to use art and creativity to explore finding those answers.
Yeah, for a lot of us who haven't really gotten the chance, Piwo, to really attend this particular festival. I mean, we've been to the main event, but what really goes on there? I want you to tie that into her answer in terms of the exploration of all these sustainability facets in, poverty eradication, gender equality, environmental awareness, really, in how they can explore that through, the different artistic avenues that are displayed there. It could be the arts, it could be, painting, it could be the music itself. What is it really that happens there?
Geez, it's such a very dynamic, vibrant, and high-energy program. The MTN Bushfire Arena really looks so different, so colorful, with all young people from across, schools across the 4 regions of the country. So there's creative showcases, performances by the youth, right? They get the opportunity to use the main stage. So they're on the main stage performing, from theater to music to, orchestra and so much more, spoken word. It's really their time to express themselves and to showcase their talent. And being on a main stage that is synonymous with, some of the biggest musical icons from across the world, it really does something to them, and it validates whatever dream that they have of pursuing a career in the arts. We get the workshops with teachers, the facilitators as well. Last year, actually, if you look at last year's video, they had the opportunity, so the learners had the opportunity to record a song, and this was facilitated by Umuti. previously Mosaic.
Mosaic, yeah,
So it was really inspiring. And, you know, some of the students were crying, just saying, I never thought that I would have such an immersive experience, come in here and actually get to sing and get to use my talent. And so I'm going to hand over to Mal because she's going to tell us what we can expect, you know, as the coordinator.
Okay.
Like, what are some of the little secrets, some of the little treats that young people
She's
can
taken
expect?
my job.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so used to being in your seat.
You're forgiven. I know your previous life. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the biggest highlights for the young people is that time on the main stage, as Pia was saying, and really showcasing to one another and getting to experience each other's art form. So that can be dance, singing, drama performance, and there's also an opportunity for visual art as well. There's going to be an exhibition space for painting, drawing, sculpture, and also that's going to be the opportunity for presentations on sustainability solutions. And then there's going to be an activation zone. We're bringing in some specific partners that are going to help expose young people to opportunities, how they can get active in their communities the very next week. And then we are cooking up a special focus workshop. So last year they did the song. So I'm going to keep that one a little bit secret for now, but there's definitely going to be like a little extra workshop going on as well. But it's a jam-packed day of a lot of excitement. And I think a lot of the young people, they just love coming together and spending time with each other and getting to network and be exposed to one another coming from all corners of the country.
And also the parade that kickstarts it all. So in the morning, there's this like massive spectacle of like the youth parade through Mahlanya. Yeah, so it really is a very inspiring and exciting way to kickstart not just the schools festival program, but just the MTN Bushfire program as well. So that's always a highlight.
It does really feel like a kickoff for the entire festival.
Okay, I love how you guys are in agreement there with everything. Everything is just in sync, and to me that speaks, you know, about the high level of preparations and preparedness that you know, you guys are currently on. But also, you know, I envy these kids, and Pio, I'm sure you can relate there because me and you in the, you know, sort of industry of public speaking and being in like big stages, if we had that opportunity when we were young, surely it probably would have validated some of our aspirations early on. And you know, if you've listened to Vusi Tembekwayo's story, he was very young when it got validated. But I do want us to talk about the strategic partnership that you have with the Eswatini TV as a part of, you know, the main broadcaster of this festival. I don't know who wants to take that one. Okay, P will take that one.
The comms lady. So our relationship with Eswatini TV dates back many, many years. And I'll just start by firstly thanking Eswatini TV for truly capturing the different stories and the impact of MTN Bushfire Festival, starting with the Schools Fest, Arts Roundtable, the festival across all stages, the different zones within the festival, the arts advocacy, you know, kind of, it's so important because it's important that we have visibility around the different initiatives and that we are truly speaking to the positioning of the festival. We are not a commercial festival, we're a conscious festival. And Eswatini TV has really given us the platform, such as us being here today, to really speak to our conscious mandate and to speak to our impact and to speak to the different programs and initiatives that are all kind of conceptualized with Emaswati in mind, you know, with empowerment in mind, with the idea of building resilient communities in Eswatini. So our mandate for supporting local is manifested and made possible through the visibility and the supports and collaboration that we have with Eswatini TV as Sibuko seMaswati. Siyabonga nokusivetela leso sithombe leso khombisa nje eMaswati ukuthi nayi festival yethu lesilandzela abantu bangaphandle bayeta lana bafike bajabulele bathokotele konke lesinako konke lesingiko singeMaswati siyakhona kukhangisa ngemakhono ethu, you know, from the trader environments, siyakhona kukhangisa ngematalente ethu, siyakhona nje kubakhombisa ukuthi as small as we are as a country, but we have the capacity, the talents, the vision to host a global event of this nature. And for us, having Eswatini TV document that and really kind of get into who we are, why we do what we do, and showing Emaswati opportunities such as this one. Ngoba right now we're speaking to schools and we're saying, here's an application opportunity to be part of the EU Bushfire Schools Festival. The applications are closing on the 27th of March and we're leaving no one behind. It's really important that we're speaking to all schools and they know about this opportunity. So thank you for helping us to facilitate access to information for all Emaswati so that they can benefit from the festival's inspiring and impactful programs.
All right, cool. I'm not part of the communications department, neither the management, but I do really want to believe that their sentiments are, it's always a pleasure to partner with the festival, and they are right in alignment with the ambitions of the festival. Melanie, she speaks about the application process. I mean, the applications being open.
Right.
What is the application process? What is the criteria, the eligibility criteria?
Right. The eligibility criteria is any school or out-of-school youth group, ages 13 to 29. We are looking for young people who are passionate about the arts, who are interested in starting an arts program. Those programs are also welcome to apply. If they're just starting that journey of being an arts program, come find the exposure, find the network. All application process is online this year. Okay. So you can, it's a pretty easy form online. And then if schools or clubs are applying to showcase their artwork, so if they either want to perform or be a part of the visual exhibition, they also need to send a clip, a video clip, or some pictures of their artwork.
Okay, it's beautiful. And what are the dates?
It closes on March 27.
Okay.
So another week and a half to get applications in.
It's enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we are looking for all corners of the country, all levels of ability. Yeah, we want diversity and proper.
Yeah. I hope my primary school and my high school, whoever from the down south, I hope they'll be there.
Yeah.
And just a message to the school head teachers and the deputy head teachers. If you are not as tech savvy as you ought to be, please, the young people, those are the natives of this digital transformation that's happening. Go to either grade 5 or form 3, ask them to assist you as you apply, because the applications are online, right?
Yes.
Right, This has been Melanie Dlamini, EU Bushfire Schools Festival Coordinator, with Pio Dlamini, MTN Bushfire Communications Manager. Let's go for a net break. We'll be back shortly.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Welcome to Eswatini Lifestyle. This is your ultimate guide to the entertainment, to the lifestyle and the culture of Eswatini.
Eswatini Lifestyle.
Eswatini Lifestyle.
Eswatini Lifestyle.
From 6:30 to 7 p.m. On Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
On Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show. This is the Wednesday edition. These are our English news. this morning. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Kusile, says that a major social ills caused by people failing to take responsibility, such as in the case of child maintenance. Dladla says that if people were able to protect themselves from unwanted pregnancies, many of these issues could be avoided.
After presenting her preamble, the Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Kusile, senators raised concerns regarding issues such as disaster management, teenage pregnancy, and child maintenance. Senators also commended the government for increasing disability grants and improving facilities such as disability and elderly home.
Pregnancy. Angathi noma iyahambelana nalabo social studies nalabo health studies ukuthi ufuna atade ngemizwa yakhe ngokonke bese kungathi sesilenzelwa ifundo lese sitawupromotha lenye info bantwana i-office ka-DPM alikucabangi lona ukuthi ngingake ihlangane naminister waka-justice to push specialized courts more especially ngoba atiyawusita kule laka DPM ngoba kudilwa khona nemafana nale gender-based violence ila kule department.
The Deputy Prime Minister says that major social ills arise from people failing to take responsibility, which often leads to abuse within communities.
Both parents are very responsible. Ngilokulukunyenti lebephuma velele ngaphandle ukuthi hey basidoja lapho manje khanze ukuthi utawufuna kimi imali afune lapha ku PS imali ayofuna kade sonke besiya lapha.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Kusile, raised the need to raise awareness about land allocation, particularly as some individuals have begun to build their homes in wetlands or at the foot of mountains. Dladla also mentioned that the Mangayane Elderly Home is currently providing shelter to disabled persons as well. Dladla raised concerns about children being exposed to inappropriate content due to owning phones at a young age and not having enough time with their parents. The Deputy Prime Minister further stated that there is a need for sign language training to ensure that individuals with hearing impairments can receive the assistance they need. For Eswatini TV News, Ndomlangeni in Parliament.
The Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Senator Prince Nkokela, says that the government's decision to lower the electricity tariff was made in order to support Emaswati in alignment with government's mandate. Now, the minister says that government cannot engage in closed-door discussions with ESERA as their calculations are based on scientific methods. The minister made these remarks while presenting the ministry's performance report for the year 2024-2025 before the ministry's portfolio committee in the House of Senate.
After presenting his preamble, the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Senator Prince Nkokela, faced questions and concerns from senators regarding the reduction of the electricity hike, as it seemed that the government was reacting to the Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority's report. Senators also inquired about the ministry's plan to ensure that businesses do not bear the burden of expensive electricity.
Occurrence of critical raw minerals in two places. Those two places is either in one region or in both regions. Absolutely, two places specifically in Mapi.
Could that decision not have been made prior than was communicate with the secretary actor? So when our men are very reactionary than are proactive.
Ingabe ministry besiba nemandla kangakanani-ke uma review regulator in terms of the law?
ESERA u-independent, naka-independent usesigabeni sokuthi udibhalela yena scientifically baqethe.
Responding, the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Senator Prince Nkokela, explained that government decided to lower the electricity hike because the country was just recovering from the impact of COVID-19. The minister added that government is working towards achieving self-sufficient electricity production with a plan to produce about 200 megawatts by the end of the next 5 years. The minister, when asked about the USA-funded initiatives and their continuation, the minister confirmed that the Kingdom of Eswatini and the USA enjoy strong bilateral relations. The minister says that just 2 weeks ago, he met with his counterpart who reiterated support for the thermal power project in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Sondo Mlangeni, Parliament.
The Minister of Public Service, Honorable Mabulala Masego, says that the issues related to Phase 11 have been included in the ongoing salary review exercise. Now, the minister says that the ministry is expected to receive the report in June 2025.
When presenting the ministry's performance report, the Minister of Public Service, after delivering his preamble, was questioned by senators on a variety of issues. These included concerns about the Principal Secretary, clarity regarding civil servants who are suspended for up to 3 years and later return to work without facing disciplinary action, issues related to the PMS, and the exodus of professionals leaving the country in search of better opportunities. In response, the Minister of Public Service, Honorable Mabulala Masego, asked that senators trust him, citing that civil servants had received a 4% increase in 2022, along with a cost of living adjustment.
Ube seyabuta ukuthi I-position ya PS lobe kakhona babetha bethe ithini cha dindzabalisele enkantolo siyagijinyiswana enkantolo.
The minister further explained that the issues in relation to Phase 2 are included in the salary review exercise, and the government will implement the recommendations presented by the consultant. The minister says that there is a need to create programs that would provide allowances to professionals with rare skills in order to motivate them to stay in the country. Regarding the issue of the Principal Secretary, the minister noted that it is currently in court and he could not comment further on the matter. The minister mentioned that the government is in the process of hiring, but the budget limitations are restricting their efforts. The minister then urged the senators to approve the budget, which amounts to 276,287,202 emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Sondo Mlangeni, Parliament.
Over 800 Emaswati ex-miners who worked in the Republic of South Africa have been paid their benefits from the South African Ex-Miners Provident Fund. This is since the inception of the payment program in 2015. This was disclosed by the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Philip Telezi, during a press conference where the third phase of the payment program was launched.
The Honourable Minister says government appreciates the roadshows to identify potential beneficiaries of the Provident Fund, as it will ensure that all deserving ex-miners or their relatives finally get what is due to them.
Statistics show that on average, more than 8,000 Emaswati migrants worked in the Republic of South Africa mines annually between 1966 and 1991. The number of mine workers has sharply declined as a result of developments in the South African mining industry. The roadshow will help make sure that the 90 beneficiaries receive their payments, and that other former mine workers who did not claim in the initial place also are included kule sibalo lestabe sikhona kulo mnyaka kule roadshow. I must quickly acknowledge and emphasize our support for working closely with important stakeholders, including the Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Tingundla, the Minister of Justice, that is the Office of the Masters of the High Court, the Minister of Health, the National Commissioner of Police, former mine workers, current mine worker associations, and the general public.
The ex-Miners Provident Fund Chief Operations Officer Mzwandile Ndlovu says, according to their records, there are about 281 ex-miners in the Hoho region, 234 in the Shiselweni region, and 266 in the Manzini region who are yet to receive their Provident Benefit payout with a total amount of 55 million emalangeni.
Zikhona-ke iy'ndlela ey'ningi zokukleyima iy'mali ezasala emamayini. But-ke thina so-Mine Workers Provident Fund sithe asisuke e-ofisini lethu eGoli size eSwatini so that sokwazi ukuthi i-process yokukleyima ibe lula for ama-members ethu nama-beneficiaries.
Organizations of ex-miners in the country were represented at the launch of the program, and the roadshows will be held in different places around the country beginning on the 31st of March to the 5th of April 2025. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
The National Disaster Management Agency, in partnership with the government of Eswatini, are conducting a validation process for the strengthening of the drought resilience policy. NDMA CEO Victor Gamete says, NDMA CEO Victor Mahlalela says Eswatini needs to formulate more regulatory frameworks dealing with unexpected environmental hazards.
After experiencing the 2016 drought, the government of Eswatini saw it fit to create regulatory frameworks that will govern unexpected disasters. This validation process is facilitated by the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA. CEO Victor Mahlalela explains the importance of this policy.
We're in the process of validation of our drought risk management policy as a country, and this policy is going to be vital in ensuring that we take a proactive approach in the management of drought as a hazard. This policy will be the legislative framework, policy framework that will guide the implementation or the management of drought risk if it happens in the country.
To add value to the framework, different stakeholders are partaking, including the municipal councils. Representing the CEO of the Municipal Council of Mbabane is Benedict Gamete, who tells us about the importance of this process.
Drawing from the experience of 2016, when the country was hit by a severe drought, Mbabane was nearing day zero in the shortage of water. So that gave us a wake-up call that, we should start mainstreaming issues of drought in what we do. Before then, we have disaster management plans, but we're mostly concerned about your traditional municipal services, your infrastructure, your waste management, planning, all of those issues. But now, after that experience, we see that it is very important to be mainstreamed into our activities.
Looking back at the 2016 drought, people in need of food assistance were estimated to be 300,000, cattle deaths were around 64,000, and maize production declined by 60%. In total, the drought costed government 19% of its annual expenditure in the financial year 2015-2016. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Satable Mamba, together with Temba Shabangu in Zuluini.
Well, the government of China, Taiwan, in partnership with the Manzini North constituency, are capacitating MSMEs with programs to help their businesses grow. Taiwan ICDF project officer Sibusiso Msibi says that they aim to uplift small business owners as they are usually left behind in funding in banks.
Member of Parliament for Manzini North constituency, Honorable Mashain Konjan Nhlengetwa says they will visit and teach 6 communities in total.
Asikhethi noma sisithatha umuntu loqashile siyamsida noma somdala siyamsida.
Nhlengetwa says the fund is not discriminatory. It accommodates everyone, and the 1.5% return is reasonable, having to pay it back in 12 months. Taiwan ICDF project officer Bushfire Msibi says the fund closes the gap between medium and small enterprises and large enterprises so that everyone contributes to the economy.
Sineke sikuthatha phasi lapho usebentela khona
sizame ukuthi sikuthuthukise ngusomabhizinisi lomncane netindzaba ke tekugcina emabhuku siyaye sitifake.
Msibi says they assist the small businesses from the grassroots level to help them grow. They also encourage bookkeeping for accountability purposes in the business. Business owners express their challenges and what they look into gaining from the fund.
Siyakuthokozela kakhulu ukuthola bosomabhizinisi laba tasicathulisa. Ngusomabhizinisi labancane size siphakame nathi sikhone nekusita abantu babethu.
Lana bathi ngewethembeka kwethu basinika laba tasinika kona ngekwe business plan ukuthi kwenda kanjani bese emva kwalokubisela le mali yabo.
Business owners say they will take this opportunity with both hands, as they usually do not fit the criteria when taking loans in banks. They acknowledge the help and hope that with this assistance, they will grow and compete with large markets. The fund, Women Business Startup Microfinance Revolving Fund, was launched last year March, and the government of China, Taiwan, invested an amount of 18 million emalangeni, which has helped around 444 people. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Tsatsable Mamba, together with Temba Shabangu in Manzini.
Some employees, especially low earners in some industries, have always complained that the minimum wage that is set by the Wages Council is too low and rather cannot withstand the inflationary pressures, especially those in security companies. Now, the Trade Union Congress of Eswatini has explained why wages are set low.
Tukoswa Secretary General Mduduzi Gina explains in detail the basic minimum wage and what it seeks to address.
Actually, these are not actual wages. These are basic minimum wages within which an employer is expected not to pay below. In the event an employer pays below the gazetted minimums in terms of the terms and conditions of service, if that employer is providing less than it is provided for in the wages regulation order, then that employer is committing an offense. It is an offense to do so on the part of the employer. And the worker is entitled to seek payment. I mean, in simple terms, the worker can go to CIMAC and claim the balance. And to see how the legislation has made it very compelling for the employers to pay according to the wages regulation orders. The Act provides that the Labour Commissioner can prosecute employers who are paying workers below. And we do have got instances where the Commissioner of Labour would be taking some employers to court. We do have got decided cases where the Labour Commissioner has taken some employers to court for employers who had paid below the gazetted minimum.
In the Decent Country Work Programme, the Minister of Labour and Social Security has stated that it is conducting a study with the International Labour Organization to ascertain the feasibility of introducing a national minimum wage in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Manzini.
On March 18, 2025, Israel conducted extensive airstrikes across the Gaza Strip, targeting Hamas positions, resulting in over 320 Palestinian deaths and hundreds of injuries, marking the most significant escalation since the January ceasefire.
Explosions lit up the sky over the Gaza Strip in the early hours of Tuesday. Israel's military said it launched fresh strikes on Hamas targets in the Palestinian enclave. A senior Hamas official told reporters that the Israeli attacks mean the end of the ceasefire deal in Gaza, exposing captives to an unknown fate. The office of the Israeli Prime Minister said on X that the strikes follow Hamas's repeated refusal to release hostages.
The IDF is, at this time, attacking targets of the Hamas terrorist organization throughout the Gaza Strip in order to achieve the objectives of the war as they have been determined by the political echelon including the release of all of our hostages, the living and the deceased.
Palestinian medics said that dozens have been killed, including many children. Strikes were reported across the Strip, including in Gaza City, Deir al-Balah, Khan Yunis, and Rafah. Israel warned that the offensive will continue as long as necessary and could expand beyond airstrikes. The White House press secretary told Fox News that Donald Trump's administration was consulted on the strikes by Israel.
Algeria on Monday opposed a French bid to deport several dozen Algerians, rejecting threats and ultimatums by Paris as the two countries' ties came under increasing strain. Now, the Algerian Foreign Ministry said in a statement that the authorities would not accept a list that is handed over by France in recent days with the names of around 60 Algerians set for deportation.
The rift between Algeria and France deepened on Monday as Algiers once again refused to accept the return of its citizens. France had recently sent a list of about 60 Algerian nationals that it wanted to deport, with the hard-line French Interior Minister labeling them as dangerous or former convicts. But Algeria would not be cowed, as it said it wanted to ensure the rights of individuals subject to deportation measures.
Algeria reaffirms that it categorically rejects threats and intimidation attempts, as well as injunctions, ultimatums and denunciations. The French have been invited to follow the usual channel which has been established between prefectures and consulates.
Since his appointment to Interior Minister in September, Bruno Retailleau has championed a tough policy regarding immigration, threatening to resign if France allows Algeria to continue to reject deportations. On Sunday, he promised to raise the stakes.
I regret that Algeria refuses to apply international law. As decided by the Interministerial Committee chaired by the Prime Minister, a progressive response will be implemented.
The Algerian deportation issue has become heated in France, especially after a fatal knife attack in February by an Algerian national. French authorities had tried to expel him multiple times in the past. Algerians have had special immigration status in France since the 1960s, when Algeria ceased being a French colony and the two countries agreed to exempt Algerian nationals from common immigration law. But recently, the French government has threatened to withdraw from the agreement. Paris and Algiers have had tense relations for years, but ties have deteriorated significantly since July 2024, when French President Emmanuel Macron recognized Moroccan sovereignty over the disputed Western Sahara, also claimed by the Algerian-backed Polisario Front. Since being re-elected in September, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune has yet to set foot in France, having repeatedly postponed a state visit that was first planned years ago.
The U.S. President Donald Trump, who has ordered the release of classified documents related to the 1963 assassination of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, has said that his administration will make public around 80,000 pages of files that are related to the former president on Tuesday.
Donald Trump basks in the majesty of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Last month, the president installed himself as leader of America's National Cultural Center. And symbolically, it was here, in a place named after former Democratic President JFK, that Trump announced the release of all remaining Kennedy assassination archives.
So people have been waiting for decades for this, and I've instructed my people that are responsible. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything.
Trump says around 80,000 pages related to JFK's murder are set to be released Tuesday, a tiny amount compared to the 5 million pages already released. But making these last top-secret files public was a campaign promise of Trump's, and he ordered their declassification just a few days after his return to the White House.
A lot of people are waiting for this for years, and everything will be revealed.
More than 60 years later, Kennedy's November 22, 1963 assassination in Dallas, Texas, continues to fuel numerous conspiracy theories. According to the government's investigation, Lee Harvey Oswald, a former Marine, acted alone in Kennedy's murder. But a 2023 Gallup poll found that 65% of Americans still believe JFK's assassination involved a conspiracy.
In California, a growing number of people are boycotting Tesla and Elon Musk, citing dissatisfaction with his actions and public statements, including perceived alignment with Donald Trump. Now, this movement has started to affect the company with noticeable impact on its reputation and customer base.
They were once seen as the future of clean cars, but today Teslas have become a symbol of political controversy. Across the U.S., dealerships like this one are seeing weekly protests, with people angry not at the cars, but at the man behind them, Elon Musk.
He's a danger to our democracy. He's going in and getting our private data. He's firing workers that are scientists, that give out, that help our veterans. He's closing departments.
And for protesters here, the issue isn't just Musk's influence, it's how Tesla's success fuels it.
Musk's power and wealth come from the fact that he owns, 175 million shares of Tesla stock. If we can collapse the value of Tesla stock, we can undermine Elon's power.
Elon Musk's involvement in politics has led to a dramatic shift in Tesla's image. The company's stock has lost nearly half of its value in a matter of months, and sales have plummeted worldwide.
To so vocally embrace far right-wing politics, that makes people nervous. That makes investors nervous. That turns off a huge part of Tesla's traditional client base.
And some of those clients are now selling their cars, like Senator Mark Kelly and singer Sheryl Crow. David Andreoni is among those looking to sell.
For the things that he represents, they're polar opposite to the values that I hold and that I teach my kids and that I was taught.
But it's not just about values. Andreoni believes boycotting is one of the few powerful decisions consumers can make.
I think boycotts are highly effective. That's why they scare governments. They scare corporate America. There's plenty of other good electrics out there that don't come with this baggage.
With consumer backlash growing, Tesla now faces a reckoning, one where Musk's politics may cost more than just market share.
Premier League of Eswatini Chief Executive Officer Petros Vilagati says the Premier League is working in collaboration with the Municipal Council of Mbabane on possibilities of returning Prince of Wales to host Premier League games. Vilagati was speaking during a media briefing.
Speaking during a media briefing, Eswatini, or rather the Premier League of Eswatini Chief Executive Officer Petros Vilagati, he says negotiations and talks will begin between the Premier League of Eswatini and the municipality of Mbabane to try and see how the Premier League can host some of their games at the Prince of Wales in Mbabane. In the past, some of the games were held at the facility, but issues of safety and the position of the facility raised concerns which ended up seeing the facility not being used for some of the Premier League games. Vilagati says going forward they will be working on seeing how they can use the facility and making sure that all the supporters who come watch their teams do enter and return home safely. He says this is done in a way to try and bring closer all the games to the residents of Mbabane. He says that everything will be done accordingly to ensure the safety of both the players and the supporters.
Manage the crowd. Ukuthi ikhona ukuthi idlale kahle lapha eKhathi Stadium. Kungabi nemsindo ukuthi abantu sebayawephana. Cishe into lethu lesawuhlala phansi siyathokoza nje ukuthi lidolobha laseMbabane seva ukuthi selinadzadzewethu ugcine efaka ukuthi lesikholelwa ukuthi uyawa understanda kakhulu ema sports. Nasi ngotha kuye sikhulumisana naye utawushesha live leli.
Eswatini Volleyball Association President Eric Gama says the association is working tirelessly to try and improve the standard of beach volleyball in Eswatini. Gama says this year the locals will get a chance to represent the country internationally.
sikhashana asikho kashane because ngicabanga ukuthi sidala lokutawudetermine ukuthi sesi.
Speaking during the Mula Sports Beach Volleyball competition that was held at Olympiafika Lobamba, Swatini Volleyball Association President Eric Gama says beach volleyball is on the rise in the Kingdom of Swatini. Kama says soon they'll be embarking on international competitions to start and weigh in how far the country has gone in playing the sport. Kama says they have received different invitations from neighboring countries such as Mozambique, where they will take both male and female teams and see how far we've come as a country. Going forward, Kama says that more competitions will be introduced locally to ensure that the sport continues to rise.
Lapho sibone khona ema-team lang-6 abakhona nalamhla ema-team lesinawo nawo angedluli kwa-5 lokusho ukuthi likhona lisasasa ngicabanga ukuthi ma-center series 2 wayo le-beach volleyball ngicabanga ukuthi ema-team athi awukhulu.
That's how we mark our news segment. We'll go for a net break. We'll return with the conversation around tuberculosis as World Tuberculosis Day is approaching on the 25th. The Minister of Health from the Kingdom of Eswatini wants us to have a conversation.
Countries are eliminating diseases all over the world.
In fact, in the last 5 years alone, 44 eliminations have been confirmed by WHO.
There's one disease that, because of a global effort, no one can get anymore. Do you know which one it is? If yes, please write it down in the comments and we'll talk about it in this episode. We are talking about disease elimination today. What does it take to eliminate a disease on the ground? And what needs to happen before WHO can confirm that a disease has been eliminated? We are talking to Dr. Jerome Solomon. Welcome, Jerome.
Welcome, thank
Jerome,
you.
what are these diseases that have been eliminated in the past 5 years?
So many diseases, like tropical diseases, have already been eliminated. 50 countries, for example, already eliminated at least one neglected tropical disease, so that's a huge success, and because it's a very heavy burden for the population. Malaria, 55 countries already eliminated malaria, thanks to all the tools that are available. Vector controls, insecticides, bed nets, chemoprophylaxis, treatment, and now we have 2 vaccines to protect children. Important point, how we want to protect, for example, pregnant women transmit infections to their babies of HIV, hepatitis B, syphilis. We are working with many countries to eliminate this vertical transmission of very important disease. And something that maybe a lot of women don't know, we can prevent cervical cancer thanks to vaccination. You know, we have a lot of examples, and we are very, very hopeful that we will eliminate 32 diseases in the next decades.
So what needs to happen on the ground for a disease to be eliminated and for WHO to confirm that it has indeed been eliminated?
When we say elimination, it's eliminating a disease as a public health problem, as a public health concern in a region or in a country. It's a huge work because we need a strong political commitment coming from the head of state and ministries, of course. WHO is helping a lot in terms of technical assistance and guidance. We are working, for example, with education department, with agriculture department, with environment, because it's a global health, it's a One Health approach. And then the local level is the most important one, because we need to have the villages, the chiefs of the villages, the communities involved and engaged. We need also NGOs, we need the strong voice of people with lived experience. We need the young people to be also very committed to explain, to share their experience, to adapt the tools to all the populations, because we need to work without any stigma, without any discrimination, and we need all the populations to be fully engaged. We have a very important report to WHO, and then WHO can certify. Take a very concrete example, the polio eradication campaign. We need all the populations to be vaccinated. So it's very important because we are very close to eradication of polio. We have to keep in mind that the efforts should be strong, and we never stop surveillance and having in mind that this virus could be back.
So when we eliminate polio, does that mean it'll be like smallpox, gone forever?
So it's important to remind that smallpox is the only human disease that has been eradicated. It was in 1980, so it was 45 years ago, and we are still trying to eradicate a second disease, maybe Guinea worm or polio.
Jerome, what can individuals and communities do to support disease elimination?
They can do a lot. Sometimes we could say, well, neglected tropical disease or some of these disease, I'm not concerned because I am very far away, I'm 1,000 kilometers away, I'm living in a rich country that is not affected, which is a wrong idea because it's like a fire. You could say, well, the fire is far away from my house, I don't need to call the fireman, but in fact, you could wait and then the fire will affect your house. So having this global behavior meaning, we are all committed, we are all affected. I think even individuals in rich countries could really convince their government that we need a global health architecture, that we need a global health surveillance, and we need a global commitment to fight communicable disease and tropical diseases. You can be strong ambassadors of public health, sharing messages, teaching people, reaching the unreachable of your communities. We are living on a very small planet, it's a small village. We all have a role to play.
Thank you, Jerome. That was Science in 5 today. Until next time, then stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
It's 35 minutes after 7. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show. This is the Wednesday edition. Let's talk tuberculosis. It has been one of the biggest adversaries of our living time here on Earth. And while the World Health Organization and governments around the world continue to try and fight it, we can really see that it has been quite the force with regards to elimination. It is still here. And there are a lot of aspirations, a lot of ambitions towards, eliminating tuberculosis. But what is really the biggest impediment with regards to eliminating it? We are in conversation this morning with Dr. Tendai Ngomo as well as Lindiwe Mluli. I mean, they're both from the Ministry of Health here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Let's get in conversation. Let's start with you, Doctor. If I told you that TB would be around in 2050, would you call me a pessimist? I'm looking at the way that it has continued to, permeate the globe with so many efforts in place. The Kingdom of Eswatini has, done a great job in terms of awareness, and we are still in conversation this morning, raising awareness, and yet it is still here. Would you call me a pessimist?
I would definitely, and good morning.
Good morning.
I would definitely call you a pessimist, but again, I would understand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for understanding, because I've sort of, looked at the numbers globally. I've looked at the numbers here at home. A part of me said, maybe I'm looking at a glass, I look at it with a glass half empty perspective, but at the same time, maybe I'm being realistic. So, talk to me about the current status of tuberculosis in Eswatini and why my pessimism can also lean on realism.
Okay, so I think a lot of progress has been made.
Right.
The world over, Eswatini included. So in terms of the number of cases that we are seeing, they are actually going down due to various efforts that are in place, from the way we do case finding, the other interventions that are in place to tackle some of the challenges that predispose people to TB. So that includes addressing general health concerns, general health issues, any other factors that predispose to TB, such as other infections like HIV. There's a lot that is being done around that space. There are new tools that are coming in
right.
to to address TB infection before it becomes TB disease. So before it manifests as a clinical disease of concern, there are measures that are in place. So in terms of why probably your pessimism, I would also think maybe it borders on realism is because probably if you know the history of TB, it's a disease that has been around. And the history of TB goes as far back as the beginning of civilization. Yeah, so probably you would be justified in thinking how would we end it now? But there are a lot of other interventions that are coming in place. Preventive therapy, there are ongoing efforts to find new tools that can strengthen the TB response.
And I'm sure the advent of AI is going to speed how we eliminate tuberculosis. Ngosi, I mean, okay, angibuye kuwelindiwe indzaba lenkulu siwa sifo sesifuba sengathi sifo sesifuba sengathi, correct. Ngibuka lesicubulo, yes we can end TB, commit, invest, deliver. Nasekubuyisa ngala kulolu lwethu lwimi, yebo singayincoba i-TB, asitinikele sifake amandla sikwende konke lokufanele. Lesicubulo lesi ake nje sisibuyise lapha ekhaya vele njengoba sesisibeke sabaswati. Engabe siteka yiphi indzaba kule metamo lesenendile kulwa naso sifo sesifuba sengathi?
Lesicubulo lesi sibuke ikakhulu nasithi nje asitinikele sifake lamandla. Lese sikubonile thina silidiko letempilo ukuthi uhulumende wakangwana usite kakhulu walwa nayo i-TB seyiyehla vele nasikhomperisha nje kusukela kubo 2011 sibona tinombolo letinkulu bo 11,000 per year bantu labane TB kepha nyalo sesehlile kulomnyaka lophelile nje sibone around 3,000 webantu labane TB. Kepha ke nasendake lolucwaningo sikhanzile ukuthi noma ngabe le tinombolo tethu tiyehla kepha nabasekhona abantu labangephandle labanayo le TB lesi sengakakhoni ukubathola le mission yethu kumbe ayikhoni kubathola kahle kwananathi kulokunye ukhanze ukuthi abalwati kahle lolwati nge-TB bahleli lemakhaya kane banato letimpawu te-TB. So ke nasithi nje asitinikele sisho kona lokuthi asesifake nemandla thine betempilo nathi thine i-community sifake emandla lokuthi wonke lona le-TB wonke lona letimpawu nje community nangabe siyambona siyamkhuthata ukuthi ngathi unaletimpawu te-TB hamba uyohlola. Nathi thine betempilo singahlali letibhedlela siphume siyele community siyofuna labantu labanale TB bonke sibathole siphindze futhi si-improve nalendlela lesi bathola ngayo lama test ngoba lamanye alama test sikhanze ukuthi nasenda le survey akakhoni kubabona labantu labane TB ngoba thine sisuke sibuke letimpawu kani kunalaba labane TB labete letimpawu te-TB. Lekufuna ke vele sisebenzise le AI boyisho nje le artificial intelligence le x-ray le kanjalo kuze ukuthi itokhona ukutibona letimpawu. So sithi nje sifake amandla nathi singihulumende sithenga yonke le mission letawukhona ukuthi ibathole bonke laba labane TB siphindze sifake amandla sibelaphe bonke laba lesibatfolile sithenge nalamaphilisi kungabede kube bede ukuthi sekuyashoda emaphilisi ngoba phela i-TB wangayilaphi vele esikhathini esiningi ukhanze ukuthi sewugcina uyashona. So ke sifuna ukunciphisa lelizinga lebantu labashonako labane TB ngalokuthi sibanakekele kahle. Lokunye lesikhanzile sikhanzeke ukuthi labanenge ukhanze ukuthi siyabatfola ukuthi bane TB sibalaphe kahle sibathole ukuthi labanye sebaphila nayo HIV sikulaphe dotimbili letinto TB ne-HIV but ukhanze ukuthi bayachubeka bayashona. Sibe seke sendalicwaningo futhi kubuka ukuthi sekubangwa yini lokushona ngoba besicabanga ukuthi ngilokuthi astilaphi kahle. Sikhanza ukuthi labantu bethu bayagula vele une TB so uphila ne-HIV so uphila nesifo sashukela noma uphila ne-high banaletifo letinengi. So lese sikwendile nje kule strategy sethu lesisha ukuthi singathi sesibuka i-TB yodvana utakuta sikuhlola i-TB ke pha bese sesiyadihlola naleli tinye tifo ukuze ukuthi sitovele sikulaphe kanye kanye letinfo kunganosalela ngephandle. So ngiko ke lokufaka nje lamandla kulesicubulo sethu sikwende konke lokufanele lokuthi sibalanzelele kahle sibakhuthate futhi ukuthi bete bawanathe lamaphilisi ngoba i-TB ilashwa isikhathi lesithi 6 months babese bayadzinwa lokunatha lamaphilisi. So sinaloku ukuthi nje sikhuthatane lokuwanatha lamaphilisi kuze athi dokotela noma loyo nesi sowucedzile kunatha amaphilisi sophilile.
Dr. Lindiwe speaks about significant strides that we've made from an average of 11,000 people with TB to a significant drop of 3,000. That is 8,000 in terms of a difference there, which is pretty, it gives confidence. But she also speaks of another big obstacle that you have since realized, which is now the linkage between tuberculosis and HIV, which you have done, a great job in terms of, suppressing that and, having your patients back to a state of normalcy where they can live without fears. But a new realization now has been the linkage between non-communicable diseases. And it seems to be a big obstacle. And yet we are here with a slogan that says, let's end TB. And again, I'll say it sounds very ambitious, but talk to me about now the biggest obstacle that you have found in the elimination of tuberculosis in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Okay, thank you very much. So one of them, I think, has been mentioned. I think issues around other co-infections.
NCDs,
or other comorbidities, as we would call them, or conditions, medical conditions of concern. That includes diabetes, other non-communicable diseases like cancers and other conditions that require immunosuppressive treatments. Then we also have conditions like malnutrition that can also predispose. Then apart from non-communicable conditions, I think we also have harmful use of alcohol as a significant risk factor, and also smoking. So those are lifestyle.
Is there a trend, though, in terms of the patients that you get? Do you see that relationship with, because sometimes, someone who abuses alcohol, you don't even have to ask them. You can just tell when they walk in, this one abuses alcohol. But I'm not even trying to be funny. With these patients, do you see the trend of, people who abuse alcohol and perhaps people who smoke quite a lot with tuberculosis and, this factor that you're mentioning? Do you see that trend?
Yeah, so according to our latest reports that have input from the WHO, there is alcohol use, harmful use of alcohol, and tobacco use rank among the top risk factors in the kingdom. So other obstacles as far as TB is concerned, I think Lindiwe has spoken about the efforts that we are having to reach out to people within communities. I think also within communities, issues around awareness may be an issue, but we have strategies in place to try and address those issues. And as she alluded to, we have efforts that we are making to reach out to communities, including through campaigns that target at-risk communities. But this is something that we really have to scale up. Also within those patients or clients that are attending healthcare facilities, also implement intensified screening among those that have come to us. So screening and early detection remains key. It's something that we need to continue to strengthen.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because, I just quickly looked up a statistic on alcohol consumption in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and it's quite sad to learn that the World Health Organization stated that Eswatini is among countries identified to have high per capita consumption of alcohol, globally estimated to be at 9.9 liters per capita, compared to a global average of 6.4. We are much higher than the global average there. But the country has also a prevalence of alcohol dependence of 0.9%. That is the Maldives and South Africa. And they are below us, and I would have thought South Africa is above us, but I do see, the population differences there. But it's quite sad, to learn that our alcohol consumption is this high, and then the downstream effects thereof in terms of tuberculosis. Let me come to you, Lindiwe. I know that you are the focal person, kule ndzaba leti. Indzaba yesifo sesifuba sengati seyihambe kangakanani endzabeni ye-awareness? Uyayiteka Dr. ukuthi you have to scale up those efforts, and yet mina lele ngikhulele khona ngibile seshiselweni sengikhona nalamba bani I have seen ukuthi le awareness ngathi yinengi. Is it an awareness issue noma i-ignorance issue kule civil and raise le awareness kuyo?
Siyatikhuluma leti ndzaba te-TB. Ikakhulu nalami imangweni njengoba size senta lihlelo beside phambilini kephasi bese sesiyalenda lo hlelo ngekusitwa nje tihlobo tenkhosi ukuthi tisiphe imali lesitawenda ngalo lehlelo. Lolu hlelo lolu ke sinebantfu lesibabita ngekuthi ngema-TB champions. Bona bahamba la emimangweni bacishe bakuyo yonke imimango. Bona umsebenzi wabo ngilokuhamba bangena nje likhaya ngelikhaya bakhuluma tona letindzaba bafundzise ngale TB baphindze futhi ngidathi nje bayascreena lokuthi babute letimphawu kulaba labahlala lakhaya kubuta ukuthi kude imvelelo nale TB. Labamkhanza ke ukuthi vele unale TB ubese so uyacelwa ngoba i-TB kuze kuthi sitokhona kuyibona siye sithathela amasempuli. Sebayacela bayabakhwehlelisa ke bathatha leto tikhwehlela tiyotestwa kuthi akusiyo ne-TB. So lolu hlelo lusisita kakhulu emangweni ekuhambiseni le information ye-TB. Singagcini ke nalapho njengoba nje namuhla sisemsakatweni sinato letinhlelo taka health lesiye sikhulume ngato letindzaba te-TB khona kubo radio kubo VOC. Sitamelo ukuthi umango wati vele ngale TB. Kani ke futhi siphindze sibe nawo lama campaigns sithi njengema community awareness campaigns la khona siye nje sikanekise bese sesiyakhuluma ngale TB phindze futhi siba screen. Sinale moto yethu ke lenkhulu i-truck lesibhedlela lefike inale x-ray la ngekhathi inalomshini wekutesta ukuthi uteni TB. Iye ite nabonesi ite nabodokotela sifike ke sikanekise sibatheste bantfu siphindze sifundzise nangayo yona le TB. Siyetama sitiko letempilo kephana ke angeke ngisho lokuthi vele ngeke ngibaleke kulokuthi labanye vele uyukhanze ukuthi abasengakati kahle ngale TB kangangoba bathi nabafika ukhanze ukuthi sofika sogula kakhulu esibhedlela. Nawuthi uyambuta ukuthi hawu bosolungetingani athi bekangati lokuthi kutimphawu te-TB nasithi bosolungahloli ngani. So vele sisenawo lo msebenzi lomkhulu wekuthi sichubeke sisendele awareness nje emiphakathini even nasetikolweni ngoba sikhanzile ukuthi nasetikolweni bantfwana bayagula bathelelwa ngilaba labadzala bantfwana. So nakhona ke kuyafuneka lokuthi siye sikhulume ngayo le TB sikhulume ngato letimphawu sikhulume ngako lokuvikeleka ukuthi bangenda njani kuze kuthi bavikeleke.
Doctor, let me come to you. And I was looking at the speech from the throne from this year, and I want to read this excerpt from it, if you will allow me. His Majesty the King said, "The good health of our nation is integral to our development, and while the country has programs in the health sector, we need to improve on providing affordable health care which caters for all eMaswati." Affordable health care which caters to all eMaswati. Let us note that. Let us highlight that with yellow. he continues to say, we commend the efforts made by government in ensuring that drugs have been distributed and made available in the different health facilities. But he also acknowledges that while we may have done commendable work with HIV/AIDS, we now face this threat of NCDs. And again, that is going to require a lot of, fiscal investment, so to speak. And yet, juxtaposing that with now the Minister for Finance's budget speech, he does say that healthcare is undeniably crucial for the well-being of the nation. And then he says tremendous progress has been made in reducing and managing the spread of HIV. And then he says TB, malaria, and other diseases. Okay, so we have established this morning that there's a linkage between NCDs and TB, which is now going to speak to what, again, His Majesty the King spoke to with regards to another commitment with regards to fiscal investment towards tuberculosis. Speak to me about tuberculosis. We know that it is not cheap. Are we putting our money where our mouth is, our mouth where our money is, or we are just operating on a shoestring budget? Because if we have the ambition of ending TB, a lot of money will have to be invested here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, indeed, TB care and prevention is not cheap, but I think the refreshing bit about it is ideally patients do not really need to pay for TB-related services. It's something that is free from the screening, diagnosis, and the treatment. Of course, probably there are other indirect costs that patients or clients may incur related to maybe transportation to the facility. But as far as facility-based procedures and treatments, patients do not have to pay unless probably some of the services are outsourced. Which
and that is my question, really, Doctor, is on the infrastructure efficiencies. The efficiencies of the system itself, not really, the consumer or rather the patient. But I mean, Lindiwe has agreed that we need to have strong investments on, these AI machines that will be able to detect what we are currently unable to detect. Are we putting our money where our mouth is with regards to those, investments? Because we will need them. Otherwise, we are going to lose lives.
Yes, we have made progress in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So currently there's work ongoing around installing AI to improve the efficiency of screening within healthcare facilities. And fortunately, Lindiwe is the focal person. I think she can speak more to it. But in terms of, she also spoke around other non-healthcare facility-based interventions, issues that relate to community case finding using a mobile clinic. We have one so far, but there are ongoing plans to have additional equipment that helps us reach hard-to-reach areas and screen populations that may otherwise not really have that routine access to healthcare facilities for screening. So within healthcare facilities, and within programs in ministry, we also have a relationship to collaboratively offer services, so that we maximize on each other's efficiencies and deliver holistic care. So sort of services under one roof.
Okay, I really love your response, because my biggest worry has been, are we at the forefront of getting these innovations that the rest of the world is trying to figure out right now? I'm glad that we are not waiting for the rest of the world to figure it out first, and then we try to co-opt. It's great that you are having those conversations and you already have interventions in place. Lindiwe, 30 seconds. My time is up. Okay. This is what the at home is listening. Sell it to them. Could say, kufunelani bangelelane ne-TB nekuyincoba umuntu nje aliswati atihlalele endlini 30 seconds khulumani.
Sikhuthata nje amaswati ukuthi lesicubulo sethu sithi ngalo 2030 sifuna kube sesincobile i-TB, sifuna amaswati aphile ngoba sibonile ukuthi nakanale TB akakhoni lokuphila impilo lephelele. Lokugula kuba kunengi lokubonyabonyeka nje kwemtimba nalowe ukuthi i-TB vele iyabulalana. Asifuni amaswati ethu ukuthi siwaluze ngekuthi abe nalesifo se-TB. Ingakho vele sicinisa lokho ukuthi asitihlole letimpawu nasitikhanza sihambe silashwe sikucetse futhi nale treatment. Sitinakekele nje sitiphathe kahle siyivikele i-TB sinathela lamaphilisi ekuyivikela sisive semaswati.
Well, thank you so much. Lindiwe Mdluli is the National TB HIV focal person under the Ministry of Health. She has been with Dr. Tendai Nkomo. He's the TB technical advisor under the Ministry of Health. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program. This has been the Wednesday edition of Kusile Breakfast Show. We'll see you at exactly 2 p.m. on Nedbank Business Watch. Bye-bye.